Hello everyone. The 48th session of Computer Application in Business of 5th semester BBA affiliated to Bangalore North University. In this session, we are going to understand about database administrator. Let us revise the content of the previous class where we understood the database management system as an interface between the database and the users. It offers the advantages like data sharing, data integrity, data security, multiple user access, and likewise disadvantage like high cost, high skill sets required. The learning objective of this session is to enable the students to understand the database administrator, his role, his functions, and the skills required to become a database administrator. After the completion of the session, the students will be able to understand the role and responsibilities of database administrator. The content of the session is an understanding about a database administrator, his role, functions, and skills required. A database administrator is an individual person or a group of person with an overview of one or more databases so that he can control the design and the use of these databases. He provides necessary technical support for implementing policy decisions for databases. He is a central controller of all database system who manages all resources like database management related software. We know basically databases collection of information stored and made available to the users in the form which is required. So the database administrator is responsible for all these activities: creation of database and distribution of database by managing the database which is being stored with the help of the softwares. He is one of the highest paid human resource in the organization. Of course, he is supported by number of staff or a team of system of programmers and other technical assistants. We can have a look at this, how database is being managed with the help of many assistants, but under the control of database administrator, where he is responsible for creating, installing, configuring, and dispersal of data wherever, whenever it is required. Let us understand the role of database administrator. As we know, he is a person responsible for the entire database and database management system. He is responsible for installing, configuration, upgradation of database, administration, monitoring and maintenance of database, and security of database in the organization. Let us discuss some of the functions of database administrator. The database administrator defines the schema which contains the structure of the data in the application. The database administrator determines what data needs to be present to the system and how this data has to be represented and organization. As we know that there are many users, many application programs which access the data from the database, it is necessary to define this is conceptual schema, and it is a major function of the database administrator. He is also responsible for physical database design. A database administrator decides how data is to be represented in the stored database. As well, database administrator finds about the access restrictions to be defined and also defines security checks accordingly. So data integrity checks are also defined by database administrator. He also defines the procedures for backup and recovery strategies. In case of any hardware or software failures, there is a need for backup and recovery, and those strategies has to be defined by a database administrator. By defining backup procedures, including specifying what data is to be backed up, the periodicity of taking the backups, and also medium and the storage place for the backup data need to be decided by a database administrator. And his function is to grant access to the users, permitting only certain users to access, process, or alter data, and applying varying limitations on the users or actions. So these are some of the functions of a database administrator. To become a database administrator, the following skill sets are required. A database administrator should have a knowledge of structured query language. He should also be capable of making a database designing, as we know that data has to be represented, and how it has to be represented in the stored database has to be decided by the database administrator. So he should be having the knowledge of database designing, and also have an understanding of the computer architecture, should have a knowledge of underlying operating system, and also should possess the knowledge of relational database system. So these are some of the skills required for a database administrator who is wholly solely responsible for database management system in any of the organization. Based on this content, what we have discussed, let us understand and answer the questions of multiple choice. Expansion of DBA, yeah, as we have discussed right now, database assistant, database administrator, direct basic administrator, none of these. Yes, the answer is DBA stands for database administrator. Next question. DBA is responsible for, let's see the options, database design, data security, recovery. Yes, you are right. He is responsible for all this. So answer is D, all of the above. Let's move on to the next question. DBA creates physical design, conceptual schema, backup and recovery, all of the above. Yes, it's his responsibility for creation of all this. So answer is all of the above. The next question is, one of the following is not the role of a DBA: installation, creation, upgradation, administration. Answer is B, creation. Let's move on to the next question. The important skills required for the DBA is knowledge of SQL, database designing, knowledge of RDBMS, and all of the above. Yes, we know that all these skills are essentially required to become a database administrator. So answer is all of the above. These are some of the books referred for making the content and the PPT. Thank you.